Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. What up, podcast fam? Oh my God, I hope you guys and gals and in-betweens are thriving. I hope that you're killing the game. Right now, I wanted to remind you that I have a really dope membership for people who want to up-level their life. My friend Caitlin Overby and I run it. You get a monthly training on whatever is going to be useful. We have done visualizing your dreams. We had my friend Hannah, who is a wellness chef, come on and walk us through this really gorgeous roasted artichoke pesto made from scratch meal. We have done a training on self-massage, and we are just getting started. So if you want a community of people who are going to support you to live your best life, head over to livemyhappyhealth.com and check out the Best Damn Life community. All right, let's party. Hello, my Root of Power podcast family. I hope that you are well. I hope that you are thriving. I hope that you are doing things that you enjoy. And if you're not, I hope you take this reminder to do those things because they are so vastly important. And I'll tell you, I'm someone who struggles to not just work 24/7, especially because I love what I do. So it's actually really hard for me to take time to do things that I enjoy, because a lot of the times what I enjoy to do is work and or sleep. So I have to really make a conscious effort to have a hobby. And it's something I still struggle with. So take this reminder that it is okay if you struggle with that, but to really make an effort to do things that you enjoy. And I was, when I was thinking about what episodes I wanted to do for the rest of the year, we're actually going to be taking a break in the month of December. So we will be back in January, but this will be coming out in October, I believe. So I was like, hey, self, what would be useful for people? How can I support, right? Because that's the whole reason for this podcast is how can I support you, my beautiful, wonderful, effervescent listeners, who allow me to hang out with you once a week or however much you listen to this podcast, but it should be every week. And I was having a conversation with a client the other day about seasons, and I believe we were talking about seasons in business, but we'll apply it to life. We were talking about life seasons and how sometimes we were just talking about it in life. Never mind. We were talking about seasons and how sometimes you're going to grind, and sometimes that's what you have to do, and you have to push through, and you have to grit your teeth, and you have to get things done. And sometimes you can chill and relax and make more time for fun things and self-care and downtime and rest. Especially if you are a person of color, right? This country is built on the backbone of people of color not resting, and capitalism thrives on no one resting, and production being the only thing that we give a shit about in life. So it doesn't matter how happy you are, it only matters how productive you are. And that is a big recipe for a toxic, miserable life. So sometimes that's the season that we're in. So I want to expand more on this topic of seasons of life. So let's say that you are in college, right? That's kind of a season where you may be grinding really hard because you need certain grades, because you want to get into grad school, because you want a specific type of job after you get out. So you're grinding. But then in the summer, when you're not in school, that is a season of play, of rest, of spending time with your friends, of recharging, of you don't have to grind so hard 24/7. We are not machines. We want to honor the season that we're in. So you can take it as throughout the year, what type of seasons you're in. If you run your own business, people typically have busy seasons and slower seasons. We just want to honor those. We want to know that they're coming. We want to plan for them. If you're a parent, it's the same way. When your kids are little, you don't really have a lot of time, right? Kids are difficult on any day because they take a lot of energy. They take a lot of time. You people with children know better than I do. That's why I don't have them. They take way too much energy and work. So your girl is just not about it. But they are beautiful little things, right? So when you're a parent, when you're a new parent, your season is, listen, you are not top of the totem pole, friend. Like, you have to keep a baby alive, and that ish is hard. So your season of life in that case is to prioritize your baby, because they're hard little things to keep alive, even though they're kind of resilient. So your season of life is not one where you can probably go on a bunch of vacations or take a bunch of time off or, do really anything except prioritize your baby. But as your kid gets older, and I'm talking especially to moms here, as your kid gets older, they become a little more self-sufficient. You're typically okay leaving them for a night or with a babysitter or something like that, because they literally don't need you as much. And what happens is a lot of parents never forget. They don't remember to adjust their life to their season. So as their kids grow and become more self-sufficient, they don't remember to adjust their season and to say, okay, this kid has been my top priority for so long, because they had to be, because, our job is to keep this child alive, and that takes a lot of energy and work. But now our kid is more self-sufficient, we're more stable, things can be a little slower, and we can adjust where we put our energy. We can adjust our needs. We can adjust where we're spending our time. And so we put ourselves in this same season of grind when we really could be in a season of rest and relaxation and recharging. And that's why I think a lot of parents feel so lost when their kids go to school or when they move out or whatever, because they never adjusted to the seasons. So we're not always in a grind season. We're not always in a hustle season. Now, capitalism will have you believe that we are, right? Because your sole purpose in this life is to produce, but we know better. We know that that's not okay. It doesn't make for a healthy human. We're actually made to rest, like, a lot. You guys ever had a cat? If you ever had a cat or a dog, they actually spend a lot of time resting, like a lot of time resting. That's what apex predators are supposed to do. We decided that we're supposed to work all the time. And I cannot tell you the amount of people that I work with who I'm like, okay, but what do you do for fun? And they're just like, oh my God, I veg out on TV for 4 hours. And I'm just like, no, that's not okay. Like, you need things that are fun for you. So seasons. So sometimes you are going to be in a grind season. You're starting a new job. You have basically anything new, right? Like, you have a new job, you started a new business, you have a new child, you have a new relationship. Like, we're obviously going to put a lot more energy into building this thing than we are in maintaining it. But where people get stuck is that they put the same amount of energy into maintaining as they do into building, not realizing that it's just a different season. Once things are running more smoothly, once they can be more on autopilot, you don't have to put the same amount of work in. But then you're like, okay, Amanda, that's super cool, but then where do I put that energy? You put it into you, which makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. You put it into you. So instead of putting all this energy into building a business, you put this energy into building up yourself, into doing things you enjoy, into doing things that are fun, really whatever you want. You don't have to do what I'm telling you to do. Like, you can just freaking sit and read a book. Like, I don't care, as long as you recognize what season you're in. So I think this concept of seasons, when I was talking to my client about it, they have a new baby. Well, he's like, 2, maybe, their kiddo. And they were like, we're so busy. Like, we just really don't have time. Like, everything's so overwhelming. And I said that, this may just be the season that you're in. Like, you're in school, you have this kiddo, like, you're doing all of these things that really require a significant amount of energy. And we don't want to fight it, because when you fight what is, you end up expending so much more energy. So that's not really where we want to spend our time. What is better to do is to just honor it and figure out pockets of time where you can get what you need. So if you're really in a grind season where like you really don't have another option, and sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, and we don't want to give up the achievement or, looking like a hard worker. Sometimes it's us, right? We don't want to look a certain way. We don't want to come off a certain way as lazy or ungrateful or unproductive, or pick a buzzword for those things. Ungrateful comes up a lot. Unproductive comes up a lot. So we don't want to say, oh, I have this job and I don't want to seem ungrateful by not coming in early and staying late, because that's really the culture that I've built. But why do you have to do that, right? Let's question those things. So we were talking about the season that they're in, and they're just in a grind season. Like, there's no way around it. They just have a lot to do. They have a lot of dreams that they're building right now. But the build phase should not take as much energy. Wrong, incorrect. The build phase should take more energy than the maintain phase, but it's very hard for people to understand when they have shifted into the maintain phase. And because we live in a capitalist society, all we're told all day long is grow, 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 build this, blah, 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 turn your hobby into a side hustle, like all this shit. It's okay to just be content with your life. That's okay. That is a good season. If you're in a space where you're just like, this is good, I don't want to build new things, I don't want to grow, I don't want to scale, I don't want to add more stuff, I just want to enjoy my life. And I'll tell you, that is hard. Like, being in a season of contentment is hard. It's hard for me. I don't know, y'all. Maybe it's easy for you. Freaking good for you if it is. Like, seriously, kudos. Because, oh my God, life is so much happier when you just slow down and enjoy your life. Because what happens when you're always building, what happens when you put yourself in a grind season forever, is you actually never stop to look around and say, holy shit, my life is pretty great. The things I've done are good and they're fun and they make my life better. You're just always looking to the next thing. It's like when you hit a goal, you move the goalpost, but you never take the time to say, wow, I really hit that goal that I was working towards for a really long time. And I'll tell you, I'm guilty of that. I am so guilty of that. I will just move a goalpost and keep going and be like, who gives a shit about these accomplishments? I don't care. We're still building, we're growing, but it's very exhausting. So I tell you, like I tell me, it is exhausting. Slow down. Honor your seasons. You should not always be in a build or grind season. Just like nature does not grow year round. They have the winter where all of the plants and animals rest. I mean, they literally freaking hibernate. Like, they drop their leaves, they go internal, they rest, they recharge, and then in the spring they are new, and in the summer they maintain, and in the fall they start shedding. Humans are no different. We have to go through periods of growth and rest. You cannot grow 24/7. It is not realistic, and it will make you miserable. It will make you miserable. We have to be in a season where we just appreciate what we have. So what do these look like, right? So I've spent a few minutes talking about seasons. You guys may be like, all right, like, I don't really understand the difference. Well, friend, I will tell you the difference. A grow/grind season means you are putting energy into building something, into achieving a goal. Graduating school, getting a promotion, your business is like, this is your busy season. Any of those things. You have a new relationship, you have a baby, anything that's new, right, that you're building. You're building a house, you're redecorating your house, you're doing things that are building. They take a lot of energy that you have to put in. When we are in a contentment season, it's more of a maintain, right? When your kids are older, it's a lot easier to not pump as much energy into them. Sorry. When your business is running, and you can just show up and things run. Not that you don't have back end things to do, right? Because we always have back end things to do in our life, but you're not as much when your relationship is solid. Doesn't mean we don't have tweaks here and there, but it means in general it runs pretty well. When your house is done being built or decorating, like you have to live in your house. Like if you build a house and you constantly redo your house, that's a problem. Like you have to live in it. You have to live in your life and say, okay, I like this. Let me settle in. Let me really see where some cracks are, that when it's time for a build season or a grind season again, we're going to fix those things. You don't always have to be fixing things. You don't always have to be pumping energy into something. It is perfectly okay to say, you know what, life is good right now and I'm going to coast for a while. But I think the US has like a huge problem with coasting. Like, it's gross. So stop doing it. Like other countries really have it right, where they're like, my job is my job. I take a 3-hour nap. It's super legit. I have a big life outside of work. And again, your girl is talking to herself here, because I am guilty of having no life outside of work. Like I can't tell you how many conversations I've had where I just talk about business things and I'm like, oh my God, Amanda, be more interesting. Like what is wrong with you? So when we are in a rest, recharge season, you just want to do things that you enjoy. Like it's okay to not have to grow. It's totally okay. I support you in this endeavor. Now, it can be pretty uncomfortable to shift from a build season into a rest and recharge season, because if all you know is the grind, if all you do is work or build or put a ton of energy into something, you're going to probably feel quite lazy and you're probably going to feel kind of bored. But what happens is like our nervous system gets tuned to chaos. Our nervous system adapts because that's what humans do. We are extremely adaptable, which is a good thing and sometimes a problematic thing. And here's why. If you are so good at adapting to chaos, you're so good at adapting to growing and building in the grind, when you slow things down, your nervous system is going to be like, something is off. I'm pretty sure we're going to die. And that's why this is different. It must mean death. So I don't like it. And I'm going to make you so uncomfortable that you go back to grind culture. But again, you are not a machine. You cannot grind 24/7. Like you have to rest and recharge. You have to fill your own cup. You have to slow the F down. But your nervous system will be uncomfortable because it adapted. It adapted to thrive, to grind culture. It adapted to hustle culture, which is why hustle culture can be extremely toxic. And then you add in things like social media, where everybody is bragging, where people make a living off of being aspirational, and then you compare yourself to them and you think, well, they're doing all these things and I'm not doing enough. And it steals your joy and it steals your contentment. And it also puts you back onto that grind treadmill. And I want you off the grind treadmill, friends. I want you to relax and enjoy your life for an extended period of time, not just like an afternoon where you like read a book in a hammock, although you should definitely read a book in a hammock. It is life-giving. For like months. I mean, to go months where you are just content with your life. You're not building anything. Like it is life-changing. I am telling you. So your nervous system is going to be uncomfortable at first, not because it's bad, just because it's new. Our nervous system's job is to say, hey, is this new? It's potentially dangerous, and so we should avoid it. Because our brain likes us in our comfort zone. And if your comfort zone is grinding and hustling all day long, every day, well, it makes sense that resting and recharging would be outside of your comfort zone. So you have to learn and you have to adapt to slowing down. Now, this was a big thing when I moved to North Carolina. So I'm from Florida originally, which is very like grind hustle culture all day long. And I moved to North Carolina and I was like, what the fuck? It was crazy. Because people here like, that's going to sound bad. People here are much more content with their lives in general. Not everybody, but in general, they're much more content with their lives, and they don't tend to chase things. They take a job that pays the bills, they travel a couple times a year, and they're really happy. And that's very confusing to me, like extremely confusing. And I was like, what the hell is this place? I mean, I really like North Carolina, don't get me wrong. But it was absolutely a culture shock. I was like, what do you mean you are not 24/7 focused on building something or making more money or advancing, whatever that means, right? And it took a couple years, honestly, to adjust and not be like, these people are fucking nuts. Like, these people are crazy. When I first moved here, I'll tell you, I was like, these people are lazy, which is what happens when you live in a grind culture. You think everybody who's not producing 24/7, everybody who's not hustling 24/7 is lazy. But that's not true. They're just enjoying. They knew a secret I didn't know, which was when you slow down, when you are content, you are also more grateful and you are also happier. So it has been a big adjustment for me to slow down and to say, you know what, self, you don't need to always be building something. Now I am who I am, right? So that is an eternal struggle. But I say that to say it is a worthwhile practice, because you're going to figure out that you really don't need to grind and hustle all day long. Like, you just don't. It is okay. You are living your ancestors' wildest dreams. You probably have a whole rack, kitchen, cabinet, whatever, full of spices. Like, people fought wars over spices, over sugar, and I can just go to the grocery store and buy sugar. I have clothes in my closet. Like, our ancestors are like, WTF, mate,